So I was at coffee house, whatever. Like not Starbucks, but a different one. And all these cosplayers came in, and I'd not even really seen cosplays before. I knew what it was. It means costume, right? But I didn't, I didn't know that they are really rolling deep, and they they have like they're really organized and focused and discipline, and like I guess so. I guess so. Because in order to emulate some a character to perfection like that, it's like a whole lifestyle. So some cosplayers, maybe they help support other cosplayers, and they come together like tight knit unit and focus, and it's like it's just like a I don't know if it's not exactly enamorable, you know what I mean? It's just that you see that and you're like, damn, why doesn't everybody, like, why don't people, I like, how come, what's wrong with everybody? But they're a discipline. It's a discipline. And I know they get targeted by pedophiles and shit, because these characters that they emulate are childlike cartoon characters and shit, like mangas and stuff. So they're like hyper aware. Like they'll be like I was hearing him listening, right? Not like hovering, but like listening, right? Like I can hear them. I'm not all up in their conversation. And they were like talking about somebody, like not in a way that they didn't like him or something, but that like they were like, oh, you should go listen to so and so, and then they just dropped. They just conveniently, not conveniently, what's it called? They just kind of like casually, like they casually just by mentioning that they think he's a pedophile, but they were all going to interact with so and so conventionally, and they were saying these great things. They're saying these good things about him, and then they said, "Oh, and I think he's a pedophile." I was like, what is going on?" Like, you're supposed to stay away from those, like, but it's it's trippy because there's this guy, right, I heard about from Pot Awful's show called the Santa Cruz Joker, who researches and contacts every single, so he'll know every single one of them, right, in his area, in his locality, right, and I mean, and then you show him proof or why you call him a pedophile, because he does everything that would qualify him, like saying, do you send, like, is in pictures, and then, like the first picture he sends will be of his dick and shit like that. Like, you're on, like, this is like, he didn't, like, he I don't know why this guy doesn't know that doing something like that on a digital fingerprint to girls, like, they are on an emotional level, well, they'll always tell. If you direct in a way a certain, that they are dealing with emotional levels, so they're gonna come with the information. And so why is he just gonna do that thing? Like, you look for that to identify what he is. He's gonna do it. That's a relief. That seemed like a relief, because you would be like, who, like, these people will never get caught or something like that. But It's through acquiescence, or that they want you to participate, that is why they can't hide. You know, I've heard it said before that they need to go and tell somebody like what they've done. They have to be able to brag, or to confer with someone on a level. They have to make a connection. And so all this Jeffrey Dahmer shit is because of him coming to Christ, or he said something in a way that anybody who's a Christian can identify with as following up on the promise of salvation, and he did it. And so some people want to take advantage of the fact that, and they like his, you know, they prefer to hit people up to like in a way that glorifies wickedness, because, you know what I mean, like it's just a momentarily a thing that can be convenient or wielded by our media that wants to put out certain energies and vibes and get you to acquiesce to, you know what I mean? Because I can't know whether Jeffrey Dahmer is saved because he said that shit. I mean, because he could just be knowing exactly what to say. So Christ is a real enemy, and you need to get to know him, because he's worthy to be learn about, to go and learn who is this mighty Redeemer. Because these are just words. I could just vocalize. When I know, if I'm a narcissist, if I'm a psychopath, I could study you. So because of the fact that they studied us and so much so forth, as they could show through the art of mimicry or something, that they fucking studied us, it's your responsibility to study them, and just set things back in balance, in order. Because what happens when I study them? I'm not supposed to what's it called? Take extrajudicial action. Why is it necessary for me to study anybody if I'm not gonna do anything to them? But it's still my responsibility. And plus, I'm thinking it doesn't do anything. So what's it even do if I studied somebody to get back at them? You know what I mean? Like, isn't that this like voyeurism? Or how come it's not voyeurism? What disqualifies that research as being voyeurism? It's because they studied you. Remember why those rats in the study wouldn't bite the other rats that stopped eating? And because there was a big dying off. They were chewing, like, for a while, all of the rats in the experiment had bite missing in their ear. But then when the colony had its dying off period, and then it was kind of nurtured back, the pathology detected that there was like a hidden hand. And so some of the rats didn't eat, and none of the rats that were survived from the last riot fucking attacked them at all. So they were left alone, but they wouldn't eat. We were like, you special snowflakes, wars didn't ever goes to Bastogne. Like, you weren't in Bastogne. You just showed up to be the cleanup crew after the mailmen did all of the heavy dying. But they were saw that there was the hidden hand and the institutionalism in the pathology, because pathology means study of suffering, but it means two sides of a coin. It means two sides of a coin. Because the final revelation leads us out of duality. Everything is duality, you know. But you don't have to take that shit from anybody, though. Isn't it a trip? Like, everything is duality, but like, you know what I mean? Like, honest people that do the work they're supposed to do don't have to subject themselves to any of duality. They don't have to put up with that shit. How'd I go from cosplay to that's why Japan is making dancing robots, because in the future they're gonna equip that dancing robot with a sword made out of all of the glitches in our matrix from the Western contemporary society that invests in the study of frozen composite cutting edge shit knife blades that they made out of frozen fecal matter, and they want to see if they can make an edge that's sharp enough to slice tomatoes. This is true. I'm not talking shit. Does it seem like I'm bagging or something? It seems like I'm being like coming up with cut downs, and I'm nah. Shit's already. So this is what video kind of is it? I don't know. I'm just a very analytical person that makes YouTube videos. I just be like, so this is that, and that's that, and this is everything is be like, you know, tell you the way things are. Oh, that's something too. Vampires. They said that vampires have a way. You notice certain particular people, they has a way about them. That's always in literature. That's like means that they've used that to imply that you're a vampire. But it implied that someone has done a repetition of, or a ritual behavior, something that you do continue over and over again. Because you have to embrace a pathology, you have to understand the pathology that is an antithesis of the one that you embrace, or you are not that guy. And it's because you have a pathology that you have to get a pathology. So you see, I'm trying to get it. Like, I'm trying to understand the pathology, because not because I want to come up with a bliss wrap excuses for the behavior, but because there is a point where you don't know whether or not you're giving information, metaphysical information, to an enemy to use to fuck you up. And you can't imagine there being one is something like somebody telling you, like, come on, man, like, come on, you're crazy, like, and they'll steal your key, your wallet, and help you look for your wallet. You have to imagine that there's somebody that can do it, and it's going to be somebody that sets the precedent for this is different. This time is different. This is an exception. This one time is the reason why You can restrict airflow, air passage, airways, you know what I mean, to playing children with a mask on, because it's to protect them, because you need social distance. For this one shakedown reasons, then it's obvious that stars are not even social beings, because it can never register to you in the scientific approach to feeling as a color that could be associated with a color. And color is reverberation, which is intonation from an alchemical process that's going on with stars. So, and plus you get the intonation, which is accent or degree of accent, and where in script, it is gives you your speech. It tells you where to emphasize, and in pitch, it gives an angle to parabola, which is a waving line, right? Which is in a vault, because that's like structure. It's infrastructure or frequency. The word frequency and the word two words that means the same thing is infrastructure and frequency. So it's like the wavy line pattern reverberation through space, through the vault of space, until it gets to your optic nerve. And there's some realities about that gets filtered even before the filters in your optic nerve. So that what you see is describing what you heard, which happened preliminary to the condition that you're seeing in front of you. It was sound, because light slows down to make sound when it becomes more, when the frequencies condense, it slows down, it becomes torpor. So higher frequencies or low vibrations are actually higher frequencies that can be broken down into, to take other wave patterns out of it that sounds differently. And then they condense into sound, which can condense into matter, which will disperse into smoke and aerosols and stuff like that, which is all still traveling this wave pattern. And so when you interact with the information, with the information or the data from reality, it happens in your eardrum, and then your brain helps you to fill out what was filtered. There's gaps in what you can establish is reality through your perception of just the optic nerve. You know, like television means lighting to your vision. You know what I mean? Plus they have focus groups and non-government organ. You know what I'm saying? Any word that there's going to be something like Twitter, you know, the CIA is going to be fucking in the mix-up. It's going to be in your. They're going to be in the mix for sure. Like this, like you're not supposed to see where the imprint is, but how can they not be at the same time? Like you would expect it, right? And then there's just some people that think that they're, for that effort that they're going to be taken care of, then they're advancing that agenda through their decision to stop processing. At a certain point when receiving this information, they decide, that's it. I'm not going to process any more of this. So take from that what I need to take from that, what I need to understand the pathology, because the pathology means suffering, right? Okay. So I think you got what I'm trying to say now. I don't want to do any more to try to explain it, even though it's possible that I could, because I could, but it would just be a 2 and 3 time of just repeating something to someone who's already on the level of you already comprehending. But, you know, this is also the same point at which those people that I'm describing to me will tell you, I don't know what the fuck you're even talking about. Like, I keep telling the person that I know that has some idea of how the system works, to give me like information, valuable information. I can't get it from them unless I have to be willing to go in and fucking circumvent and get it. And so like I'm telling them to talk to the notebook when they refer to where I am, because if they're helping me, they want to know where their energy's going. So when they want to know how much I've done as far as advancing my my itinerary, right? If it's not valuable information, then you can't condescend to me. If it's valuable information, it goes in the notebook. So if it's in the notebook, you don't have to ask me, and that frees you up to be able to tell me if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right? You know what I mean? I'm talking about my mom, because apparently, there are some things that I has to does on my own, right? Obviously, like that, right? But if you don't, like, it's like, so you have to do a keyword search, you know what I mean? And so like there's sometimes it's just like you have to put the right, like, how come I'm not thinking about it the right way? All right, you can understand everybody's a little different. Everybody has something that they can do well. And then there's something else that might be easy, but for them, for some reason, it's exceedingly hard to do it. You know what I mean? But if it's like a thing about if we're going to convene or reconvene, then we have to be on this basis and this point. You have to show so much as forth as you does, as much as you need to appreciate the information I'm giving you, right? So I'm willing to go that route. You know what I mean? The other routes, I mean, there's you can't argue that I wouldn't take a more isolated or more discomfortable route if that's what I only knows, right? I'm not trying to make excuses or cut for myself or anything like that. But what I'm saying by having a notebook, though, is that at some point in time, you're going to refer to is our communication issue. And if it's not the fact that you haven't even got a notebook, you didn't even bring a pencil, you didn't even, like, I'm going to have to keep talking to a brick wall. So how could you have a problem with the fact that anything valuable that you're contributing, I put it in a notebook? How could that be a problem? Because you're going to refer to something that's valuable information that's not worth writing down, that isn't worth writing it down. Oh, my stomach is growling. I hope you didn't hear that. Probably sounds like farting or something. I don't know. It's the same thing. I wouldn't imagine that it's because the stomach is tummy grumbling didn't smell like cheddar cheese inside. It's gross. Like cleaning fish and everything. I don't know. I mean, it stinks, but it doesn't stink bad cleaning fish. Like, it's a stink, but the stinks that what it is more like, it's only smells worse because you know what it's supposed to entail, like what it's around. This smell associates with this. So that smell, depending on whether or not that substance that is creating it is a negative or positively charged polarity, then you'll be repulsed by it. Why would I have to explain that? Why would I do that? Why would I explain that to somebody? I hope I'm not insulting anybody. Like, you don't know. So I'm playing this NFT game, right? And it's at level 22, you get a treasure token, which is a circle, right? It's a token, a circle. But it's level 21. The same 21 grams is the weight of a soul. A soul is a circular symbolism. It's a circle. It's an NFT metaverse is so metaphysical. Like Splinterlands, jewel shards, and everything. Like, it's dark energy crystals. Like, you know what I mean? And that doesn't detract from the definition of the word metaphysics meaning discipline. It's just that, like, remember Onigumaro's, like, in Inuyasha, his nemesis and shit? He was like, he's got the jewel shards. He's got a jewel shard. You know what I mean? Watch out. Watch out. He's got a jewel shard. Right? He was not loving the metaphysical information. Like, the little nemesis, like, he's like the one that Onigumaro. It's like on a level, like, he's like a charm against the charms of, what's it called? His brother, the other, whose brother's a full demon. He wanted to be a full demon. He's a half human, half demon. He wants to be a full demon like his brother. He fights with his brother all the time, you know. And they have another brother that's the name is, the evil one. What's his name? Forgot. But it's just that, like, it conveys something to us that we appreciate, and so it goes in manga. You know what I mean? It goes in anime or whatever. I'm not even good enough to know the difference, really. It's just, what's his name? I wonder if it's an aspect to, like, sometimes they could be the protagonist, or sometimes they can be the antithesis, right? But we associate it with the same deity. So it'd be like, when they tell a story a different way, it'll be aspect of a previous deity. You know what I mean? So like, what was it? Naraku. So look at this, right? Imhotep means hello, right? Mahalo, it means thank you, right? It's the same word. Imhotep, mahalo. It's the same word. It's just a little bit slight variation in the linguistic pattern, you know? Tamare. You know what I mean? And then you get the mares of Diocedes, which is like Tiamat, and you get Ter, or the scale, the weight of the soul up against the feather, right? 21 grams. On level 21 in this NFT metaverse, you get a treasure token in this level 21. The soul is a treasure token. It's for the conveyance that the metaverse needs to relate to us, to want to complete the narrative, and then gamify the business model, right? Which, if it works, it will become indelible on the blockchain. So even if the project dies, that business model can be reinvigoration for token economic systems, token economic models, right? That are for anybody who wants to use blockchain. What am I talking about? You can just look at, it's an algorithm. It's a fucking algorithm. So why are they talking about algorithm like it does the function that people who understand nuances? Why do they talk about directed acyclic graph and the race to compete for the authentication of the root C text hash with the quantum entanglement or quantum? No, it's a directed acyclic graph is a quantum tangle technology. Quantum computing is a way to potentiate data query to get exotic data. So they're converging for a root C text hash ID, which is a seal, like the mail. So they're referring to Space Force, and they're talking about is how far back is the technology for the quantum computing that we can use the directed acyclic graph to authenticate my identity. That way, it's me. I'm not fucking with you, and pulling your leg, or some hacker, or I'm not this or I'm not that. You know what I mean? I'm not just out here fucking with you. Like, this is really me, and I'm making a statement, and I'm using social media. So they want social media to recognize encryption, like Telegram, you know what I mean? Or you get the games that with where you purchase and there's no strategy. It's the shell or the husk of a fucking video game. And people can't understand that they're talking to a bot or something. They think they're talking to a perp. It's like this kind of shit. And we like these people that don't associate that you're no longer talking to a human with a pathology anymore. It's like a writing off substance. Just, and they prefer experimentalism. Like, for people to favor experimentalism lines them up to be experimented on. You're signing away like a waiver, but it has to come on slow and slow and be accepted and demanded for, because it's going to be like, you know, like, this is hurting me more than it's hurting you kind of thing, except it's not like I'm trying to edify. It's like I'm trying to get you a position from up underneath you, and to be able to, for me to stand on it instead of you knocking people off of position. You know what I mean? But because there's no standard for this type of behaviors or something like that, you could just consider that all fake conspiracies and shit. That's all fake conspiracy news. Like, where is that something you heard on the YouTubes? Is that something you learned on YouTube? Depending on who that person is, they need to come up with whatever it is that they owe you for your time. I don't want to say, because different relationships implies different things. Somebody has to get off the pot instead of acting like they're taking a shit while there's a line outside the fucking bathroom, and they're sitting there like, I'm really shitting. You're like, no, you're not. You're fucking off. Like, you're probably in there doing lines. I don't know. You're writing on the wall. You're doing something. You know what I mean? I know that it's possible that somebody could be constipated, but this is an allegory. You're not supposed to get constipated into allegories. You know, it's like somebody will fight me, try to make this point, and I'm aware of them, but it's not person that I'm aware of. It's not you. It's not, you know what I mean? So how do I refer to them? You know what I mean? And then in some society, in some social groups, you don't do that anymore. You just go over it. You just pass that. I know when you're talking about that because we're having the same issue. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to take the information to be about me personally, because it'll have a sound that it'll be like, oh, hold on, back up, motherfucker. What are you talking about? Are you coming off on me? You know what I mean? But it's too exacting of the circumstances that we're living under, that I can identify with it, and I just feel you. There doesn't have to be I'm having a dilemma. Can you help me? And I'm really trying to help you out of your position by you giving me advice. This is just a stream of consciousness video. Okay, later.